Can you solve a math mystery?
When I have a worry-filled mind, I like to wander outside. No telling what we might find. Birds calling, worms crawling, leaves falling down from above. Oh, I plant my feet on the ground. I keep my head in the clouds. I let my feelings out loud. I hear joy calling, fear crawling, tears falling down out of love.
Welcome, friends. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Mrs. A, and I always like to start out with a feelings or zones of regulation check-in. It's important for us to practice identifying and understanding our feelings and sharing them with the world and sharing them out loud, even just for our own brains and bodies. So we're going to look at this poster that I've made, and it has a lot of different feelings and emotions that you may experience throughout the day. It doesn't have all of the feelings you could feel, but it has a good mix of them. And so go ahead and take a peek at this poster. I'll zoom in a bit for you. And I'd like you to notice how the eyes are shaped, where the eyebrows are bent, where the mouths are curved. And think about your own feeling right now. Are any of those faces or facial features looking or feeling similar to yours? Maybe your mouth is pouting. Maybe your eyes are watering. Maybe you're feeling sad. Or maybe your mouth is wide and smiling. Maybe your eyebrows are high up on your forehead. Maybe you're feeling joyful. Or maybe one eyebrow is up and one eyebrow is down and you are feeling a bit confused. There are no good or bad feelings. There are just so many different types of emotions and feelings that we can experience. And so I like practicing identifying our feelings with you so you can feel like you have the skills and the tools to identify them on your own, especially when you feel a feeling that may be a little uncommon for you or maybe something that's challenging for you to name or identify. The more you practice, the better you get. So take a moment and practice finding your feeling. I'll do the same. Did you find yours? I'm feeling playful, like the character all the way up the top left. They have dark skin and long dark hair, and they have an eye closed or winking and their tongue sticking out. I'm feeling really playful today because of the mystery we have coming up, and I'm really excited as well. What feeling or feelings are you experiencing? Yeah, thanks for saying them out loud. If you're not sure the word underneath the picture, you can always point to it or ask a grown-up for help reading it. Just like practicing naming our feelings, the more we practice reading and sounding out words, the better we get at that too. If you'd like to keep practicing with this poster, you can download it when you become a member of my Patreon. For just $1, you can get this page to download and keep forever. And if you don't want to support me financially, that's okay. Another way you can support me is just by clicking that red subscribe button below. That shows that you are enjoying the videos I make, maybe learning something new or discovering things you hadn't known before. Special thanks to all my friends who have already hit that subscribe button and who have shared with me things that they've learned or questions they've wondered. I really appreciate you. Now, if you have visited with me before, you know that we also always do a date exercise. And the reason we exercise or move our body is not only to build our muscles and get our heart rates up and stay healthy, but also to help us understand or practice other tools and strategies we can use if we're experiencing big feelings or feeling out of control of our emotions. Or even if we're feeling tired or under the weather, sometimes just moving, getting your heart rate up and building those muscles can help clear your mind and put you in a more comfortable or peaceful space. And so we're going to look at the date that I have today, though it might be different for you. If it's different when you see this, you can always change the numbers as you need. For me right now, it is 3/14/22. And that means it is March 14th, 2022. And we have our friend Fig here who always shows us one of the moves we'll be doing, but they don't tell us right away. Instead, it's our job to guess. So you can use your eyes to carefully observe or notice. You can shape your body like them and make a guess, or make a few guesses. What type of exercise or stretch or move do you think they're showing? I'll leave them right over here while you're thinking. And to start, we are going to do 3 frog jumps. Now, frog jumps are really fun because they use all of the muscles in our body. And what we have to do is start on the ground or on the floor, kind of sitting like a frog. So go ahead and get in that position. I will too. And then we'll try to jump as high as we can, pretending we are frogs. Let's do 3 frog jumps. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do Fig's move. And maybe you've already tested it out. Fig, what are you showing us? Twists. Thanks, Fig. Now, friends, you can do twists sitting or standing, whatever's best for your body or space. Go ahead and get in position to do your twists. But before we go, remember, anytime we have an even number, we're going to count by 2s. And 14 ends in a 4. So is 4 even or odd? Let's see. An even number can be shared equally. So if I keep 2 for me, give you 2. Do we have equal groups? Yes. Okay, so 4 is even, which means we'll count our twists by 2. If you're not sure how to do that yet, that's okay. You can follow along and practice with me. If you know it well, let's get started. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Fabulous work. And finally, we have 22 moves to do. Similar to the twists, these can be done sitting or standing. All we need to do is focus on our shoulders for this move. We're going to do shoulder rolls. And the fun thing about shoulder rolls is you can move your shoulders backward or move them forward or take turns one way each time. Whatever's best for you. We'll do 22 shoulder rolls. And again, we're going to count by 2s because 2 is an even number. Let's do it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Awesome job, friends, and thanks, Pig, for showing us that move, and thank you for trying to build those muscles, raise your heart rate, and move your body with me. Anytime we exercise or move our bodies, we always take 3 cool down breaths after to help settle our heart and bring our body back into a comfortable, quiet space. So we'll listen for a bell, and when we hear it, we can breathe in big and then slowly let out. Let's do it. Amazing job, friends. Thanks so much for moving your body and cooling down with me today. At the beginning of my episode, I asked if you think you could solve a math mystery, and it's one of the reasons I'm feeling so playful and excited at this moment. And in order to bring our math mystery up, I need to borrow a little bit of your magic. So will you please rub your hands together, or snap your fingers, or stomp your feet as I give a countdown from 3, and then our mystery riddle should appear. Will you help me? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh, you did it. Fabulous work. Okay, when we have a mystery to solve, we have a riddle that gives us lots of clues. Then we can check by making some observations around what's in this box. Now, when we make observations, we can use our 5 senses, and you may already know them. They are sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Now, of course, because this mystery is hiding in a mystery box, we won't be able to use all of our senses, but I will describe what I can to you and hope that you can use your imaginations as well. Let's start by listening to the riddle. I am a tasty food you can eat. I can be savory or sweet. I can be eaten for dessert, breakfast, or dinner. I'm round and easy to bake for a beginner. I'm sometimes filled with fruit or nut. I'm best sliced so you can enjoy my buttery crust. What am I? Let's see. Well, this box is not too heavy, so whatever's in here is pretty light. I hear something shifting around. I can't see what's in the box, but I can smell it. I can tell you it smells sweet. I heard that sometimes it's filled with fruit or nut. Yeah, that makes sense. Smells pretty sweet. And I can't feel what's in the box just yet, but I can look back at our riddle. What is something that you can eat that's savory or sweet, good for dessert, breakfast, or dinner? You can bake it if you're a beginner, filled with fruit or nut, has a buttery crust. Do you have any guesses? Oh, I think you might be right. Okay, hold on. Let's open up this mystery box and find out. Oh, it's a pie. Did you get it? This one is a small pecan pie. But there are so many different types of pie in the world. Awesome work. If you weren't able to solve the riddle, that's okay. Anytime I share a mystery riddle, it's a really good way for us to practice our critical thinking skills and use our senses, like I mentioned. So even if you don't get the right answer, you're still practicing and building all of those different muscles in your brain. So awesome job. I wonder why there was a pie in our mystery box today. Hopefully our message will tell us more. But for now, I need your help once more as we use our magic to put this mystery riddle back where it came from. So, will you please rub your hands together or snap your fingers or stomp your feet in 3, 2, 1. Oh, amazing. Thanks again for your help. Now, let's check out that message to learn more. In my messages, I often hide alliterations and onomatopoeias, and you can be on the lookout for them. Alliterations are words that are next to each other or really close by that start with the same letter and sound. And onomatopoeias are sound words like bam and crash. So let's see if you can spot any. Dear clever kids, do you know what pi has to do with math? Well, it's not actually pi, P-I-E, that's connected to math, but pi, P-I, which is a Greek letter and a mathematical constant. We can find pi when we measure the outside of a circle, the circumference, against the line through the middle of a circle, the diameter. The number we get when we measure any circle this way is 3.14. And today is 3/14, Pi Day. Woohoo! While there's a lot more that we can learn about pi and math, I figured we should first learn about some great mathematicians. Love, Mrs. A. So friends, even though there was a pecan pie in this mystery box, pie, like the one you eat, the baked good, is not necessarily connected to math. But pi, P-I, or this Greek symbol, is connected to math. And actually, if you think about it, pies, like these baked goods, are made in circles. And so we could measure this pie or this circle by using the Greek symbol pi. So that's a pretty cool connection. Also, we have some great mathematicians to learn about, and I have some wonderful books to share with you. So let's take a peek at them now. This first book I have is called Counting on Katherine: How Katherine Johnson Saved Apollo 13, and it's by Helene Becker with illustrations by Dow Fumaruk. And Katherine Johnson was an incredible mathematician. We're going to hear just a little bit about her story, but this book really walks us through her whole life, and I really love the detailed illustrations. Here's just an example of one. In the 1950s, the U.S. government's National Advisory Committee on Aeronautics, or NACA, hired thousands of new employees. It even started hiring Black women as mathematicians. Katherine heard about the mathematician jobs. Her heart raced with excitement. Perhaps her dream could come true after all. But when she applied for one of the positions, she was told they were already filled. Katherine had to wait a whole year until new spots opened up. Her patience paid off. She got the job. And if you look closely, this building is labeled Langley Aeronautical Laboratory in Hampton, Virginia. And so Katherine really wanted to work as a mathematician and engineer. And when she heard about these job openings, she was really excited, but she still had to wait a year to get the job. Here we're going to learn a little bit about how math is involved and so important in flying rockets. Sending a rocket ship into space is like throwing a ball into the air. At first, the force of the throw sends the ball up, up, up. But as its energy runs out, the ball's path curves back down to the ground. Where it lands depends on what angle it was thrown and how high and how fast it flew. Because math is a kind of language, Katherine could ask those questions. How high would the rocket ship go and how fast would it travel? Using numbers. And numbers would provide the all-important answer. Where would it land? To find out, Katherine plotted the numbers that she'd calculated on a graph. When she joined the points together, they formed a curved line. At one end of that line was Earth at the time that the rocket ship launched. At the other end was where Earth would be when the ship landed. Wow. This looks really complicated. Not only does Katherine have to figure out how fast the rocket ship is flying and where it's going from and where it's going to land, but she also has to pay attention to how the Earth is moving. And so doing all of this complicated math and calculations were one of Katherine's gifts, and she was able to work it out. Katherine's reputation for accuracy and strong leadership skills, she was known for asking plenty of questions, got her promoted to Project Mercury, a new program designed to send the first American astronauts into space. Mercury's mission was going to be dangerous, so dangerous that even the project's star astronaut, John Glenn, refused to fly unless Katherine okayed the numbers. "You can count on me," she said. Glenn's spacecraft, Friendship 7, orbited the Earth 3 times and returned home safely. Glenn became a national hero. Katherine's work helped him get home safely. Now, we were talking about circles and pi before. Do you see any circles in these illustrations? Do you think Katherine had to use the mathematical constant pi in any of her work? Well, you'll have to grab this book from your library or bookstore to find out, but I really love learning about Katherine Johnson and that book, Counting on Katherine. This next book I have to share with you is called Ada's Ideas, and it is the story of Ada Lovelace, the world's first computer programmer. It's written and illustrated by Fiona Robinson, and I really love these playful illustrations that look like they have been cut out from paper. It's a really creative way to illustrate the story. I also learned a ton about Ada Lovelace from reading this, and I want to share a little bit with you. Once there was a girl named Ada who dreamed of making a steam-powered flying horse. Her mother despaired. She wanted Ada's feet planted firmly on the ground. She wanted her daughter to marry and lead an ordinary life of a 19th century English lady. But Ada Lovelace's ideas would carry her far beyond the ordinary. she would become the world's first computer programmer. And maybe you are watching this on a computer or a tablet or a phone. And if it weren't for Ada's work as one of the first computer programmers, we may not have the technology as available as we have it today. So Ada Lovelace was a really important person in the world of math and computer programming. Little Ada had lessons of all kinds to keep her out of trouble. Here was her typical day as an 8-year-old. 10 a.m. music. 11:15 French reading. 11:30 arithmetic or math. 1:30 p.m. work. 3:15 p.m. music. 4:30 French exercise. Poor Ada. If she fell behind in her studies, her mother locked her in a closet. She rarely played with other children. Her only friend was her cat, Puff. And when she was only 8, Ada's father had died. She was sad to lose this man whom she had only known in her imagination. Do you have any connections to Ada? Do you have a schedule throughout your day? Maybe it looks similar or different. Maybe there's a time when you practice music or languages or math. Maybe you have a parent who you didn't know very well. Maybe they only live in your imagination. I know that's true for me. It might be true for you too. Maybe you've lost someone really close to you, like Ada's dad who passed away. And so what I think is really great about reading people's stories is we can find that although there's a lot of differences between us, there's also lots of similarities or connections too. Happily, when she was 16, she recovered from a sickness. 16 was an important age for a rich girl like Ada. It was when she was presented to the world as being eligible for marriage. After her lonely childhood, Ada was suddenly thrust into society. Her mother encouraged her to dress in beautiful gowns and go to grand events like balls. Ada was thrilled to escape her quiet, regimented life and sick bed. Meeting writers, artists, politicians, and inventors reignited her imagination. There's Ada's mother, always present, keeping an eye on Ada. There's Charles Dickens, a famous writer. There's Michael Faraday, a scientist famous for his experiments with electricity. There's Mary Fairfax Somerville, a math genius and Ada's teacher and friend. And there's Charles Babbage, an engineer, mathematician, and inventor. When she was 17, Ada met someone who would be very important to her future. Not a potential husband, but an inventor named Charles Babbage. And there he is there. And I really like that Ada was not interested in him as a husband or finding love, but instead she worked with him on building a machine that led to her work as the first computer programmer. And so you'll have to grab this story, Ada's ideas, to find out more, but it is really, really interesting what she did and what she worked on. Now, this last book is probably my favorite in the whole bunch. It is called The Girl with a Mind for Math, and it's the story of Ray Montague. It's written by Julia Finley Mosca with illustrations by Daniel Riley. And I think one of the reasons I love this book so much is because each page is written like a poem, and they rhyme and play and sing together so wonderfully. The illustrations are also fantastic, and I learned so much about Ray Montague from reading this. So let's look at some together. In a state we call Arkansas, one winter day, a baby was welcomed, a girl they called Ray. She was bright as a star, super smart from the start. She was headstrong, this child, and not faint of heart. Yes, this girl had potential. Her granddad was proud. He told her, "Work hard, you'll stand out from the crowd." Then something she'd cherish. When Ray was just 7, he took her to see her first ship. It was heaven. So Ray loved ships and submarines, and she saw her first one when she was 7, and her granddad took her. But Ray studied hard. She had grit, taught herself. She was gifted in math and read books by the shelf. When the time came for college, she knew what to choose. She'd learned to build boats, but she got some bad news. "Engineering's not taught to black students," they said. Her heart hit the floor. "I'll take business instead." She'd learn what she could, and she'd learn the rest later. Their rules were unjust, but that school wouldn't break her. So Ray was sure she knew what to do. She wanted to study engineering and learn about building boats and submarines. But there were racist and discriminatory rules and laws against people who were black from studying engineering. So she said, "Okay, I'll study business and I'll learn what I can." Ray finished with honors. Oh boy, what a smarty. She said her farewells. There was no time to party. "I'm off to a place filled with history's greats, the capital city of all 50 states." Now finding a job, it turned out, that took time. She looked and she looked. Ray was not one to whine. Then it must have been fate, at least that's what it seemed. She was hired to type where they built submarines. So even though she was not able to study engineering in school, when she graduated college, she was on a mission and she found a job in an office where they designed and built submarines. Now, this story gets even more incredible as we hear how she was able to actually live her dream and help design submarines. So please grab it. But I'm wondering if you know what capital city she was in, the capital of all 50 states. Where did she go after she left college? Washington, D.C. It's the capital of our United States. And so when Ray Montague was in Washington, D.C. and starting to work at that firm where they designed and built submarines, she was able to make her dream come true. But you'll have to grab that book to figure out how she did it. And I really recommend you do. If you want to visit my link in the description, I have a page where I share all these books so you can get them for yourself from your own local bookstore, which is pretty neat. To wrap up our time together, we always practice a mindful moment, and it kind of brings us full circle from the beginning of our time to the end, where we were talking earlier about feelings and emotions. Because when we practice mindfulness, it can help us build our muscles and better understand our feelings and manage our feelings. Helps us really just focus on what's happening in the now. So we're going to do a breathing exercise today related to all that we've talked about, and it's called circle breath. So all you need to do is sit up tall, and you can close your eyes or look down. And you're going to take your pointer finger out in front of you and make a big circle. And we'll do that nice and slowly as we breathe in, and then we'll undo the circle like we're erasing it as we breathe out. And we'll do this 5 times. Are you ready to take some big circle breaths with me? Let's get started. Two more. Awesome job. Friends, thank you so much for visiting with me today. Thanks for trying that mindful moment and for practicing that mystery riddle and listening to some of these incredible books. I hope you make it a wonderful rest of the day, and I can't wait to see you next time.